Hello, what's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. How's it going?
Hey.
We got some cool guys here with us to close out their project. But before we get into that, just want to say hello to the chat real quick. We got Pale Rider in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you. Darren Wagner is here. How's it going, my man? George Travelos. What's up? Good to see you. Curious Comics is here. He's got to do an oil change, but I'll be listening on my phone. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Frog G's in the house, dropping those links. Appreciate it, my man.
Hell yeah.
Frog G is an awesome dude. I just want to give him a shout out, man. He's an awesome backer. He's an awesome customer. Like, he's a customer promoter. Like, he's just a great dude.
Yeah.
How's the Bob's in the house? Frog G. What's up, man? So, guys, we got Vinny with us. How you doing, Vinny?
Hey, man, pretty good. Yeah, I thought I'd jump on in and give my my Clayton brothers, Barton brothers, I give you guys some extra push, extra cheer that you're crossing the finish line tonight. So yeah, man, congrats.
Yeah,
awesome.
And crossing it strong. Yeah, I guess are Clayton and Corey. Barton, what's up, guys?
Hey, Red Gaze, thanks for having us on today, man. Really do appreciate it. We're feeling good. KOZOR Descent into Madness is going really strong, and hopefully it'll end really strong as well. So many amazing people have jumped on board to help us not only fully fund this project, but just smash our funding goal and obliterate it so that Corey can do many more issues of KOZOR beyond this one, and I think that's exactly what he's intending to do.
Yeah, man.
Is it?
Of course.
Yeah,
it's the look of I never want to go back to a call center and just keep working KOZOR.
Yeah, that's a good look. That's a good look to have. Definitely a good goal. But man, yeah, Corey, you've been tearing it up with that art, man. What are some of your influences?
Yeah, man. Well, I guess like Berserk is probably like one of the biggest influences. Like just seeing all the volumes that this one guy has done makes me want to do the same. Like, it's incredible. So hopefully KOZOR's that big one day. And, I guess David Finch, probably Greg Capullo and Todd McFarlane influenced my style and stuff for it. And yeah. And of course, like Fantasy Women and Monsters influenced me as well. So
Of course, absolutely. So you guys are planning a long run for KOZOR.
Yeah, man. Like, I originally planned the first graphic novel to be like 10 issues, but it's probably going to be more than that. Like, I keep coming up with ideas for it, like some pretty messed up ideas. So, and after that, maybe 30 volumes or more. Who knows? Make it go on forever.
Yeah, forever would be awesome.
Yeah.
I know Clayton was telling me before about your how to word it.
Yeah.
Your vivid imagination as far as nightmarish creations.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because KOZOR doesn't Chief Baron's an awesome character, but it doesn't just revolve around Chief Baron. It actually has like a number of characters. Like issue 2 has a more grown up version of his daughter. The story follows, and it's sort of like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. It's like you got your favorite characters and stuff. You will see Chief Baron in the second issue though, but he'll be pretty different. It's a surprise.
So he's not going to be a Ned. He's going to be back.
You'll see, like all the characters sort of age throughout the story, but you'll see like their past events where they're younger and stuff as well. So
Cool, man. Now, do you intend to go? I know you got more, like a lot of nightmare sequences in this book. Is that something you're going to continue doing, or is that
yeah, of course.
more of a
The
setup?
nightmares are the funnest part to draw in the comic. Honestly, it gives you so much more like freedom to do something crazy. So yeah, and then there's gonna be some parts where the nightmares leak out into reality. In a way, you'll see what happens. So
Cool, man. I didn't know that.
because Magator, the villain in the background, he's like a sort of a psychic villain, but eventually he'll start coming out into the real world in different ways. So he'll build his army and stuff. So
Bitch and design, I gotta say, everything you've come up with here is just, I mean, the visually, it sucks you right in. Like you want to know more, you want to read it, you want to have it.
yeah, of course. And Clayton done that cover perfectly. I'm begging him for the second issue cover as well. So
Thanks, man.
yeah.
So Clayton, you're doing.
I was gonna say thanks, but no. Clayton's gonna put his foot down. He's like, you did too well. Wait,
Yeah,
I gotta wet my beak.
totally. It took a while to put that one together, but it was worth it in the end. It came out beautifully, and Corey was happy with it. So I'm glad I did his characters justice.
I do want the statue version of his Chief Baron on just that pose, the statue of it.
Yeah, that'd be killer.
Just how much do you guys collaborate as far as like the art goes and the story?
Yeah, man. Well, actually, let me load up a Photoshop document here because I think it illustrates really, really well exactly what Corey did with the book originally and what changes I'm making for this definitive edition. I'm going to have to load it up here. But essentially, I'll get it up so you can check it out later. Essentially, what you're looking at here on this interior page, for example, it's not just Corey's style, it's not just my style, it's this hybrid, essentially, that has come about as I've gone over the top of the inks and the line art, touched everything up, fixed any anatomy issues, proportional issues, compositional issues, and just balanced everything out in that regard, and then really made the colors pop off of the page. So we're giving you the very best, the high definition version, essentially, of this comic book. And the really cool part about that is we're offering a tier which is just the original artwork by Corey, the original dialogue, everything, even the original cover. And so we've got this alpha version of KOZOR available for hardcore collectors who would like to get their hands on one of the 50 copies that we're going to be putting out. And the
original pencil sketch.
Yeah, with that tier, you also get an original pencil sketch too, which is less of a sketch, as you can see, and more like a finished penciled artwork. So, yeah, it's really cool stuff. And Corey, what you should bring up that folder that you've got of the actual original comic book there, because the cool part about this project is that it's essentially done, at least in some form. And so all we've got to do now is go through and touch up all the pages, which, we're as excited to see how this is going to look in the end as anybody else, because we've never seen it in this form before with this rendition. So there it is.
Yeah, it is gorgeous.
Thanks.
I love it. Yeah, you guys were on the other night on my channel, and we covered a lot about this. And just to kind of see what you guys are doing and what you have planned for it is going to be really fucking epic. So I highly suggest anybody, if you haven't jumped on it, jump on it now. Definitely.
Yeah, and you guys are you're a very unique team in the sense that, like Vinny and Frankie, for example, you got an artist and a writer team. You guys are just kind of meshed together in almost every aspect.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's really cool. It's a way in which I've never worked before, and it's the first time that Corey is actually collaborating with somebody like this too.
Yeah.
Personally, on my end, I've really enjoyed it. It's gotten me more psyched for KOZOR than ever. I almost want to do a spin-off of the story now. Maybe based on a
Yeah.
particular character from the story.
Dude, I want you
And
to do that too, man. You should totally
yeah,
do it. It's a good idea.
totally. and I love the end result too. When you see the final pages that we've done up here for the book, and it's first time going to print, it's just it's amazing to look at, and to think that this is the result of both Corey and I working together, two brothers. It makes KOZOR something special to us. It's brought us closer together as artists, but also as brothers. And we always loved talking about our comic book ideas, but
Yeah.
working on those ideas together is on a whole different level.
Yeah,
It really is.
I
I can
bet.
attest to that.
Totally, man. Well,
Yeah.
Vinny, you would have gone through very much the same experience.
Right, because not to take anything away from Vinny, like Vinny's got some writing chops on him too, so they collaborate a good bit with the writing aspect as well, like in the dialogue and everything's story. But just like Frankie's not actually coloring or dipping his fingers in part of the artwork, or you know what I mean. It's just it's a unique aspect that you guys have going on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I've gone ahead and I've shared that Photoshop file with you. I can just show you quickly like some of the differences in the original work and the new kind of facelift that we're giving it. So this is one of my favorite pages from KOZOR actually, and this is what you're looking at is the original version of it that was illustrated by Corey. Out just slightly there, and it looks great as is. It tells the story, that the composition is there, but then what I've done is I've gone ahead and basically just given it a little bit of a facelift, refined, polished up that anatomy a little bit more, added more detail to the background to ensure that and kind of balance things out in that area to make it more readable. And it's just, it's a really, really cool to make KOZOR the very best that it can be, the epitome of what it can be, and then to offer that up for people on its first ever printing. And I know that, Corey, man, you must be excited to see how this is going to look in the end yourself.
Dude, I'm pretty happy, man. Like that butt you done, man. It's like 100 times better.
Yeah,
Like I want to see that in print on mice.
Thanks, man. And this is an example of a panel with the eye in it, where I completely redid it. And if you look at the original, this is really interesting because the narrative has actually been changed slightly here as well, or more, it falls in alignment with Corey's original vision for it, because what this is trying to say is that Chief Baron is looking up at these creatures, these strange crystallized female beings, and he's terrified, right? Except you don't really get that in this particular panel in the original version of it. Instead, you get this look of rage, right? Like he looks pissed off and angry.
Yeah.
Whereas in the new version, you still get a little bit of that anger there, but it's more shock. It's more fear in his eye that you can see.
Yeah, definitely more concern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so that's what makes this such a cool project to work on, and what I've really enjoyed about it. I want to do more projects like this with Corey, where we just collaborate on a comic book together, because Corey learns so much from it as well. His artwork since I've been doing these draw overs for him, even on his drafts for the new pages that we're doing up for KOZOR, because we are adding additional story pages to the book just to expand upon it and to, again, increase the value that people are getting when they back the campaign.
Yeah, I can try getting some of those up, actually. Just a second.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, man, so Corey's learning just an absolute ton from it, and his skills have kept on leveling up since then. And so I couldn't be happier for Corey, and I'm excited to see what projects he's going to put out in the future. This is his first one, so we're going up from here.
That's a
Definitely.
beautiful thing right there.
Yeah, and mentioning leveling up, like, do you guys take any influence from anything outside of comics or like film, games, maybe anything like that? Just curious.
Definitely. Well, Corey is super influenced by franchises such as The Witcher, Dark Souls, and of course we already mentioned Berserk. But I would say that we love catching up and watching movies on the weekend, and there have been times when I've seen a scene that has really stuck out to Corey, or a character or an event that has happened within one of those films that we've watched, and he's weaved it into his own comic book.
Yeah.
And
Actually, when I think about it, like I first really got into like that sort of darker fantasy stuff when I played like Heretic 2, which is like a really old game, like on the what do you call it?
I think
the same Quake engine or something.
Yeah, the original version of that was called Hexen or something like that. But yeah, that was a huge inspiration for you on KOZOR.
Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and scroll down a little bit there, Corey? Like, I love just his tormented face here. Like, that is just crazy, the level of detail there. And you can see with the ladies as well, like in comparison to the first those crystal ladies on the original page I was showing you before. He's just
I can draw better.
Absolutely.
But you know what's great about it too? I mean, artistically speaking, is the contrast. You have so much detail everywhere else, and then like their skin and everything. I mean, there is still detail, but it's a different level of it. Especially the contrast between like the costumes they're wearing and that. I mean, it's really cool. I'm sure however you guys are painting this up, digitally and all that, it's gonna stand out nice.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
I'm amazed by your ability to have so much nudity on the page and actually not have any nudity.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've had questions that people have asked Corey that try to get something deeper out of him as far as what the story involves, and all he can say is just he loves drawing chicks and monsters. And but it's funny because you read KOZOR and I was surprised when I had first read the story, because I was like, dude, you can write? What the hell? Like, I didn't expect this for your first comic book.
Well, I didn't think it was that good at writing, but apparently Clayton thinks so.
Well, I like it because it's a very different comic book. Like, it's super strange and weird. There's I would say, I'm a big fan of David Lynch movies, and so the dream sequences within KOZOR kind of bring David Lynch to mind, except they're way more horrifying, of course, and in your face. But this chick in the middle, Corey, just next to the guy. If you scroll down a little bit, keep going. Yeah, this girl here, just her body reminds me so much of Frank Frazetta's style of drawing women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
Cool. Very nice.
Whoops. What'd I do? All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, man. And I think it's awesome to get an extra look inside too, because these are some pages I haven't seen. And the reason I was asking about like maybe other outside influences is because, like in comics and film, there isn't a whole lot like this. There's you have some like medieval horror, but it's really not that horrific. It
totally
something totally different from all of that here. Because I was looking up different medieval horror to just kind of throw some out there and see what you guys think of like maybe different movies, but I cast that aside because I couldn't find anything even remotely comparing to this.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, man. Like, and especially as far as comic book projects on Indiegogo right now, like KOZOR just is, it's in a league of its own. And I don't know if it will set this genre off, and maybe we'll see more books like this. I hope we do. But yeah it's definitely a strong mix of fantasy and horror.
Yeah,
you know,
and
and
it's
it's
got a strong psychological element as well.
Mhm.
yeah, big time. I mean, it gets mega psychological, especially in the later issues, which Corey doesn't like me talking about too much because I tend to drop spoilers. But you know, you know when someone tells you something disturbing and then you just got to share it with somebody else because you can't hang on to it on your own. Like that's
Yeah.
how I feel when Corey's telling me about issue 2 and issue 3 and just Chief Baron's background. You know, you learn in the first issue that he's somewhat of an anti-hero. You know, he's got this attitude that is simply unlikable. He doesn't treat people in a respectful way. He seems extremely selfish and like he only cares about, you know, what he wants to do and where he's headed. But
Yeah,
then,
thanks, man. You just practically spoiled it. Now
no, I
everyone's
didn't.
going to be like, you know, I already
No, I
know this
didn't.
guy's an asshole, so what's the point of reading this
Yeah,
book?
he
You know?
essentially, to put it simply, he's just an asshole. And so, but later on, you
But you
find
gotta
out
dive
why.
in. Yeah, you got to dive in to find out
Yeah.
exactly how much of an asshole he can be, and also
Oh yeah. And you know, I would say that there's definitely a strong representation of karma for some of these characters, but then a certain amount of unfairness when it comes to their ultimate fate.
Man,
There's definitely reasons
if you're a
why these
machine gun,
characters are the way they are.
Clayton, if you're a machine gun, you'd be spraying spoilers everywhere. Spoiler bullets.
Are we gonna catch our first fight between brothers on air?
Nah, I'm just joking. He hasn't actually given away that much. I just like trolling him, so
I like
You know,
less
to give
than
people,
lethal spoilers.
yeah, totally.
yeah. It's like all stuff he can say, but like none of the viewers will actually get until they read the book.
Right.
Right. Well, that I think is the key with a lot of these things. Like you can say a lot, you know, and you think you might be giving away like the whole story, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
people listening, you know, they're going to hear what you're saying, and then they're going to read it and be like, "Well, damn! Like there's so much more in here than I
Yeah.
even thought."
Mhm.
And like more than half of it's like the visuals anyway. It's like you got to actually see the book and see what's like the visuals to really get it what KOZOR is. So
Yeah, but I love the dialogue too, man. Like you can write pretty good dialogue and you are able to weave stories together in quite a cohesive way. And for someone that doesn't have a whole lot of writing experience, that's why I was like surprised because it really stood out to me. And I was, dude, when you put this book together initially, I was super proud of you, man, because
yeah,
it was 2 years in the making, and in the end, it just came together really well. And you know,
Yeah.
even I was shocked by the end. You know, those last few pages are a true climax to the first issue of KOZOR.
Thanks, man. Well, like I thought when I first done it, I didn't think I would really have that many viewers. Like probably like 5 people or something reading
Yeah.
it, like my family. And I'm like, if I was gonna do a comic, I might as well just do it my way. I'm not gonna do it anything like Marvel. I just want to do it
Mhm.
unique and crazy. So
Right.
Absolutely, man.
somehow it's turned into something.
Hey, we got to get this page up on the campaign, by the way. Like, I feel like Red Gaze is like the first stream we've actually shown it. So,
I was just gonna say, like, I'm seeing comments like this in the chat, and I think you guys should really put this out here a little bit more. You know, people love the assets too.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Way
you
to
know, we do as well. And Corey's always asking me questions like, dude, should I have nudity in KOZOR? Like, should I add it in there? And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you know, they had nudity in 80s movies and like that wasn't like, it
Like
was like normal. So
the
why,
way I
why
think
not?
about
I
it,
don't know.
I don't want to like unnecessarily put it in there. I want to put
Yeah.
it in there so that it actually makes sense in the story or something like that. You know?
Absolutely.
Phrasing.
Yeah, I really like what you did here. Like, it just goes to show, like, yeah, you don't need a blatant nudity in your face. You know, like you got everything across you need to get here tastefully, and it's just
Yeah.
amazing page.
Yeah,
Like I think about this page, right? If these like were nude, right, it would sort of change the meaning in a way.
Yeah,
I don't
or it would
know.
also take attention off of the tortured soul at the bottom, and everyone would be checking out those nipples, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
The focus would switch over to sexuality instead of what's going on in the scene itself. You know, you
Yeah.
have to have that fine balance. That's why I like a lot of stuff too, like in Heavy Metal magazine. Like it's cool to see all kinds of stuff, adult stuff you can put in there, but you need the balance. You need the moments. You want to
Yeah.
pick where you're going to have like the most of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I was going to do nudity, it would have to be like a really sort of romantic moment within the book to
Right.
like justify it in a way. Like,
Yeah, something that's already focused on the sexuality of what's happening,
Right.
rather than torment.
yeah,
Well, it's a great contrast. I mean, I really love when you get an artist who can blend horror and, I guess, alluring visuals together in a strategic way that meshes it together really, really well. There's something about the two extremes that I think make it desirable, and this is something that McFarlane did really well. And I think you said that you worked on this series of figures, Vinny, but the Twisted Land of Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just the characters in that, and Dorothy, and I thought, that's one of the reasons I love Todd McFarlane and what he brought to the table really in the Image era. It was something that was different. It was dark, very similar to Mark Silvestri, with characters like Witchblade and the Darkness.
Yeah.
These were a different format of comic books, and it hit home really hard for a lot of people.
For sure, yeah, because it doesn't always have to necessarily be superhero. You could have dark fantasy. You could have that kind of stuff. Mix some genres. Play around with that kind of visual. I mean, that's what's cool. That's what makes things stand out, because people kind of recognize it, not sure what it is, and then you have that extra little twist to it. It's gonna pull them in. You're gonna have a lot of cool stuff happening. That's part of like when I was doing designs. With them on those kind of figures and stuff, we were able to play around. We were able to experiment. Like what direction are we going to go in? That Dorothy was going to be something else, but they liked one of the leftover drawings I had that never got the green light from the Tortured Soul series. So she ended up going from Tortured Souls and kind of leaning more to the Oz, aspect. But that's why she was bound and all that, because it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a different design I was doing where I had two girls stitched together, but they said it was too much. So we took one of them away, stood them up, and then kind of.
Yeah,
that's a good idea for KOZOR.
Corey and Clayton say too much, my ass.
Yeah, I like that was too much, because there was some messed up figures in that collection. Like,
yeah, there were.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
I did some joke versions too that almost made it.
Oh, nice. Damn.
Yeah. Okay, you don't like that? Then how about this? And the one that I really was like, this is straight up a joke, they wanted to make. I'm like, you guys, you got to be shitting me. But
wow,
that's
hilarious, man.
Pale Rider was saying that. He goes, how did you not say Vinny?
Yeah, dude, that would have been a lot of fun to work on a project like that. I reckon, Corey, you would have absolutely loved it.
Dude, I want so badly to have action figures like the KOZOR characters.
Yeah.
So, or statues, actually.
I kind of missed that. Those, they were figures, but they were statues. They just had a couple of for articulation.
Like, I don't really like the joints in the new Todd McFarlane action figures. It just doesn't look realistic anymore, if you see the joint.
Yeah, because I know when we first started experimenting with that, I was there when they wanted to put more joints in figures. He was still against it. He hated putting joints in figures. Because it's the cost too, but it's just the way that it looked. Because he preferred having like little statues on your desk, that type of deal. But like we were hiding them in the Dark Age line, like because we were studying Japanese figures and how they were experimenting with different joints, and and in a lot of cases it worked, and other ones I think they failed miserably. But that was like the other sculptors trying to jam in stuff where from a distance, like it works, like the shoulders, like it kind of works from a distance, but when you go to mess around with it, like that Spawn had really funky shoulders underneath those giant shoulder pads. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. And you don't necessarily need a. I mean, as an adult, and they were adult figures, you don't necessarily. You're not going to get them out and play with them all the time. So it seems appropriate to have them in, a static pose where you can look at them on your desk or on your shelf, and that'd work perfectly fine. Because they talk about suspense of disbelief, right? And I feel like when you add those ball joints to figures, it destroys the sense of disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, and it depends what it is. Something like this, something like KOZOR, I think would work really well because how his designs are. If you're going to do a ball joint, you could do it like in the wings or something, like on the back of the figure or something. There's certain areas where you could get away with it and still have some mobility in certain areas where, like, if you want the character flying or, in a static pose or it's kind of just sitting on your desk, there's a way of doing it. Like, as opposed to, let's say, some of the Street Fighter figures that are out there, since they're more based like on human anatomy, sort of, you could have multi joints in there, and you're going to have them in fighting position, so it kind of works. That would make sense. But yeah, something that's going to be highly detailed like this does not need a lot of articulation. Minimal here and there, just to get a slightly different pose. But yeah, I think it would work.
Yeah.
It would kill it.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely. Now you got their mind running on the
sorry.
visible figures.
I got one of my favorite action figures from Todd. The Fly.
Oh, no shit. Like the movie
This is
Maniac.
the mad one.
Yeah,
Corey's inspiration.
Dude. Yeah, that thing was, that was something else.
I mean, I like scaring my wife with it every now and then. So.
You leave it on the bathroom floor and she goes in middle of the night.
Yeah, totally.
Put it in the toilet.
Yeah, man. Like it, I don't know. The joints really bug me, man. Because I saw even the new DC ones Todd's putting out. Like they look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the detail and stuff. It's just the joints. Like they put me off so much.
Yeah, it's for sure. Some of them are like that. The ones that have what I've noticed that have like armor and stuff, like they could hide it better. And
it's true.
Some of the other ones, I agree. It's kind of it's kind of a sin. But if you can, I was gonna say you could lean towards like what Hot Toys does, right? Since there's like soft goods, there's cloth, there's clothes, and you could have an articulated body under there, so like it comes off the right way. Because I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
Like just maybe not a billion points of articulation, but just some key points of articulation.
Yeah.
It's a similar problem to what 3D animators run into when they're rigging up models. Is around the joints, the shoulders and the elbows, the knees, the neck, the geometry can deform in very strange ways. So it's always better to have rather than organic forms, hard forms over the top of those areas, such as armor, for example, because it hides that deformation that ends up happening.
Yeah. A cool thing I've seen, I know we're going off on this tangent now, is like some of the superhero ones, right? They're like if it's a Spider-Man figure, I notice like they're putting extra like padding that's between like the suit and the actual like where the articulated bodies are. So like they'll sculpt in like muscles onto it, but if you press on it, like it's kind of squishy, like you can't really tell.
Okay, cool.
That kind of stuff's cool. Like, the Deadpool figure, since he's got like those kind of shoulder pads that are slightly puffed for protection. Like, I mean, you've seen the movie, you know how it is, but like it looks like a shrunk down version of the actual, of the movie, of the character, and there's a ton of articulation. So like there are ways of getting around that kind of stuff, from, I know we're talking shop again, but the cool thing is I think it all kind of falls back on one another, because if you see stuff like that, you could mess around with poses, and if it has more of a natural feel of a human body would, that could also inspire. And if you're having trouble with drawing a particular scene or something, mess around with a figure like that, something that's got a lot of articulation, you're gonna get what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Corey, man, the details in like this chick's headdress thing is just crazy, man. Like,
Yeah,
how
man.
long did it take you to do this page up?
About a week, but it was fun.
I can see why.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
man. Dude, yeah,
like
a ton in
I
there.
don't know. Details, they seem crazy, but they're pretty fun to do.
They really are. Like I really like how you did the lighting effect, like on that kind of necklace part that attaches.
Yeah.
Like that kind of broad section. The way you did that with the reflective light is really nice.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. That's why I really love studying artwork and black and white ink work like that. I've been a fan of so many different creators over the years. Silvestri was like one of my favorites for a long time as well, and Capullo.
Nice.
But like breaking down that kind of stuff and then seeing how like those hash lines work, how the extra little details on certain things, you want to get that extra cool texture. It gets your mind going there, because I know people, they see my work and it's mostly like, it looks like it's mostly just paints. But I'm thinking about, three-dimensionally how the objects are, how light's going to reflect, if something has texture, and all that stuff. Really, it comes together. That's why I love blending comic book and kind of like concept artwork. Merging the two.
Yeah.
worlds.
Well, yeah, big time. And I think as well, there's a lot of comic book characters out there that just aren't memorable because they don't have a great looking design. And so I think that it's something that, character design is definitely a concept that you want to keep in mind when it comes to creating your comic book characters, because, a well-designed comic book character is going to be a memorable one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, like some of the stuff that I've done too. I mean, Through the Woods, the main characters, it's kind of, a lot of people, they're not even sure which one it is. Is it Laura? Is it the chick, or is it Jack with the big axe? Right. I think it's more Jack. He's got the iconic look about him. Right. It's the clothes he has on, the glowing eyes, the axe. It's certain elements you want to be there. That's why with her, it was mostly like to get a really good, you want a good looking character, one, but two, like when I started changing the clothes between issues, or, as you're going through the book, you see, it's one of the few times I've seen it. I don't see it a lot in comics where you have like a main character that's going to have wardrobe changes,
Yeah.
I think you have more realism with that, but something that's going to be more fantasy, something that's going to be the one I'm working on now, the pirate book. They don't have like that many different options, right? So I wanted to make sure that the looks on the characters, the ones you're mostly going to see, are going to play out properly as you're reading the story. And like if they're going to have extra elements, you layer them up, and that way you could take off a jacket, take off a vest, or whatever. People will still recognize who the character is, and it's still iconic. There's ways of going about what you want to do, but for what KOZOR is and this kind of that dark fantasy elements, I think it's brilliant and beautiful. Coming up with what you do and how it's going to work and play out. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, I really like doing the wardrobe changes. Actually, like I think in the second issue, like Chief Baron sort of Alice has her armor damage. So I'm gonna make it in the third issue. She actually gets like a whole new costume, and
that's cool.
It's just cool. And like Chief Baron, he doesn't always actually have that fish mask sort of thing on. Like I want to make it sort of like a special moment each time he puts it on, so people, like the fans, are like, "Oh my god, something's going down."
Yeah, man, I like that.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, that's what we
do.
That's what I mean.
Oh man, if he was an action figure, it'd be so cool to make his mask like some sort of thing where it just goes over his head and comes off. Like
that might be hard.
Well, either that or an alternate head.
Heck yeah, man.
That's true.
Totally.
Pop it off.
You mentioned you love looking at black and white line art like this. a lot, Vinny, to study up on it and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, one of the editions of KOZOR that we're offering in the campaign is the black and white line art edition, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
so that means that you're going to get to see this level of detail in the line art without the colors distracting you on both the front cover and the
Mhm.
interior pages. And we're going to keep all the dialogue in there as well so that you can read it just like you would any other comic book. But what I love about this edition is just that it has a very nostalgic feel to it. It's like the old Vampirella comic books from back in the day, or Eerie, or the other very many horror fantasy stories that they had back then, where all you had was that line art to really describe the form and the details that you were seeing from one panel to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times it makes things even more eerie or creepy, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
It's the way your mind's going to go. And yeah, I think any artist, who's, worth a damn, they appreciate this kind of stuff too, because my background was always it was always pencils, pen and ink, and then I taught myself how to computer color. So like, I love diving back in whenever I get a chance. Like, there's a ton of pages I'm working on now that are, straight up traditional, and then I paint them on Photoshop. So seeing this kind of stuff, the shadow, lighting, how dramatic scenes, what you're using with all of your line works, the hash lines, all that stuff, how it's going to tell the story, how you're going to get those dramatic moments. That's a cool thing. People dig that.
Yeah.
And I gotta say too, like I'm a lifelong tabletop role player. Like D&D was what I started with, and a lot of your line art here really takes me back to like first edition illustrations, but like way more refined, way more detailed. It's got that feel to it.
Yeah. Thanks,
Wow,
man.
It's a nice callback. Like whether or not you're even trying it, it's just, I think I know a lot of people who would really, really dig this.
Totally, man. Yeah. And we're lucky because I feel like the coloring style we've developed for the book suits Corey's really intricately crafted line art, and that can be a hard balance to strike sometimes. Sometimes you'll have colors that kind of take away from the line art in a negative way, and vice versa. You'll have beautiful colors, but line art that just does not combine well with those colors. And the theory I've always had is, if you're going to have completely black dramatic shadows against high contrast highlights, such as what we're seeing here with KOZOR, then the coloring almost needs to be the same. You've got to have a certain level of high contrast between the blending in the highlights and the shadows in the various hues that you're using to describe those forms.
Mhm.
And that's why I love the style that Brian Haberlin, I believe, used to color Spawn with, is that you would get these. It was an airbrushed look, but it was a high contrast airbrush look. It still had that graphic appeal to it, and that just fit really well into the line art, which was, of course, also a graphic representation of the story.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, Brian, he's a master of that kind of stuff. I had a good conversation with him at a convention, and we really broke it down. 'Cause he had a lot of tutorials he had done over the years as well. Like he
Yeah, man.
he used to have them on like DVD, and it's been a minute. Yeah, digital downloads and shit too.
Digital art tutorials, I think it was. And man, he was the first person through those DVDs who taught me how to color comic books. So, man, I thank that guy for that, because I hadn't really done any digital coloring before it. And to know that there was the guy who did Spawn, the Spawn colors, had created a course, that was like a dream come true.
Oh, yeah. And on top of it, he's just a really great guy. I know he had a couple projects over the years as well that he had done. And I think he's also a co-creator of Witchblade.
Oh, nice. Really?
I believe he is. I'm not 100% on that, but I think he is one of the co-creators.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really cool to see that kind of thing. And like I said, it all kind of comes full circle. Like, all the people who kind of influenced us all, and having to meet them like that. That's what I always enjoyed about the independent scene. It's the ones
Totally.
that went way too corporate. Is those we turn the stomach, and you can see it's all, what's mine is mine, what's yours is mine. No, you need to share. You need to help educate people. That's why I love what you're doing too. And I've been doing it for so damn long. I mean, there's tons of different people I've helped. That's why when you came, you're like, oh, Vinny used to give me tips. I was like, yeah, man, it's cool. I'm glad we reconnected. But that's the thing. It's like you're not looking for acknowledgement, but when you do stumble upon somebody who you've kind of helped a little bit or are on some level or inspired, it's awesome to hear. It's awesome to see, and that you're giving back. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
That's how art keeps growing.
For sure, man. I agree. I mean, it's one of the things I loved about teaching in the classroom was that, you'd have a student for about 2 years throughout the course. And, I was teaching in video games. So what I was teaching that set of students was things like, digital illustration and character design, environment design, that kind of thing. And they'd start out at a certain level. You'd give them basically a download of all the knowledge and the techniques that you'd learned along the way. And then you'd try to coach them through it, make sure that they're applying what they've learned in the correct way and seeing the results that they're looking for in their work. And so by the end of that 2 years, it was just such a rewarding experience to almost, bring out the artist within these students, to bring out their potential and to see the result of that in the kind of work that they were creating by the end. I don't think there's any other feeling like it. It's one of the reasons that we went ahead and created howtodrawcomics.net in the first place, because that kind of thing had such an impact on me growing up. I wouldn't be the artist that I am today without people like, David Finch, Stephen Platt, and the No Mon DVDs that they put out back then. Brian Haberlin, as I mentioned before. Because, tutorials, there was only a few people doing them back then,
Right.
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's really become quite saturated now. You can pretty much learn anything you want to learn on YouTube and on the internet for free. But back then, man, it was few and far between the knowledge that you could actually track down and use and then apply.
Yeah,
So
it was very scarce, very scarce. And that's why, we got to do what we can, and it's great to see. It's great to see, just people growing, just keep getting better and better. Like you said, it is saturated, but at the same time, to have more like the approach that like some of the stuff that we've learned off of, I think there was more of a personal touch to it. Some of these guys, it's like they assume certain things, or it's, this is just how I do it, and it's easy to do, and bam, 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 they show the little process. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But if the ones who really took the time to show you why something works, that's the important stuff. And because you want people to understand how certain things like lighting, shadow, composition, how it all plays together in a proper way to tell a good story. And especially for what we're doing, sequential artwork, it's key. It's key to know how to do that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It really is. And once you learn it, you can create your own stories and represent them in, a comic book format. Mm-hmm. But what I've realized over the years is, and one of the reasons I think that I didn't have too much of a hard time jumping from, predominantly pinups and covers to sequentials, is all of what we need to learn when it comes to creating comic books applies to shooting scenes in a movie and describing something within a novel. You're thinking about the same stuff, character placement, the environment that character is acting out their scene within, what they're saying and how they're saying it, their body language. The context of the overall scene that you're representing and how that plays into the narrative, exposition. And so, I think that the skill set that you can learn from doing comic books is so dynamic in that way. It's one of the reasons that when I was torn between, video game design and creating, 3D models and digital sculpting, and which I loved. I absolutely loved that stuff. I was truly passionate about it.
Yeah.
and concept art and that kind of stuff. The reason that I focused on comic book art is because I knew that if I got really good at comic book art, I'd have everything I need if I ever wanted to go back into 3D modeling, if I ever wanted to go back into digital illustration and concept design. Because you got to know your anatomy. You got to know how to pose a character.
Yep.
You got to know how to design whether you're doing. Yeah.
I've always said it too, man. That's why I'm glad you brought that up. It's like film. I've always said, if you're a comic book creator, you are literally the actors, the director, the ward person, cinematographer, dude. You name it. You're wearing all the hats. So to tell a proper story, visually compelling, you want these characters to be alive. You want the world to be alive. It's all these elements that you have to nail. Because if you don't, you're going to clearly see that, right? You're going to see why certain books, they're great to read. You want to keep picking them up, and why others you could barely get through the first time. And it's like, okay, I'm tossing this. I'm giving it away. There's a difference between all that stuff. But it's that. Know your shit,
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you like Red Gaze, we can go through just some of the main tiers that on the campaign that we'd recommend people to check out. Our favorite ones, anyway.
Definitely. All right, so obviously your featured tier is one that you want to check out.
Totally. The featured tier is one of our favorite tiers because you get all 3 editions of the book for $96 USD, but you also get A3 sized posters of each of the covers. And for those of you in the US, of course, A3 is 11.7 by 16.5 inches. And if I was to describe how big that actually is, if you picture a comic book, size it up just a little bit and then double it, that's the size of these prints that you're going to get. And the best thing is that they're shipped to you flat in an A3 sized mailer, which is very similar to a Gemini mailer. It's just the Australian version, but it's just as sturdy, it's just as secure, and guarantees that you're going to get this book in pristine condition when it's delivered to your doorstep. These books are all signed by both Corey and I, and we're not too sure yet, but I think we're going to have a dedicated page to the signature on the interior, just so that we're not ruining the cover with our signature or anything for you. I know that people have different thoughts and ideas on that, but that's what I'm thinking we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then we've got the digital versions of the books, all 3 of those editions, which the reason we're including that is because we want to make sure that after you've read the hard copy once, you can put it away for safekeeping and then reread the digital version as many times as you'd like. Studying up on the art, as Vinny said, analyzing it, and just experiencing the book forever if you want.
Right.
So,
is your digital versions add-ons on this campaign?
No, they're not. They're included in each of the tiers, actually. So depending on the tier that you back, you're going to get the digital version of that edition. So we've got the singles there. They're all $25 USD, which is the standard for a Comicsgate comic book. And they each come with the digital version. As I said, they're signed by both Corey and I. And you get an A4 sized poster, which is smaller than the A3, of course, but shipped to you flat once again and ready to hang on your wall frame, whatever you want to do with it. Cool. We've got the variant cover combos, which are great. That's $49 USD, so that's actually come down $1 thanks to our conversion rate. We've got the definitive edition and the black and white line art edition, which is a big hit. People really love this tier because you get the best of both worlds.
Right.
We've got the definitive edition and the variants. Now, this is a cool tier. We've only had 6 backers claim this, but I should let everybody know, because I'm not sure if they're aware, that you're actually getting a major discount on each of the books with this one. It's only $70 USD, and you get all 3 of the editions of KOZOR. So it's definitely one I'd recommend if you're on a bit of a budget. And then this last tier down here is probably the best value for money. It is $183 USD, which is a little bit more expensive than the other tiers. But the reason for that is you actually get 4 editions of KOZOR. You get the definitive edition, Yeah, Corey, we'll check that out in a sec. You get the definitive edition. You get the Corey Barton variant. You get the line art edition. And then you get the original version of KOZOR, the one that Corey had up before. And that's going to be printed, of course, as an actual comic book, but it shows all of Corey's original artwork throughout each page that he created, untouched by myself, untouched dialogue. And then you get an original artwork from Corey, an original finished drawing, which is what you're looking at here. Corey's very eager to show that off. It's beautiful, man. It's ready to ink by the looks of it.
Draw.
Yeah, it looks really, really fantastic.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
We got Tatsunami in the chat. Says backer 414.
Thanks so much,
Awesome.
man. Really do appreciate that.
Adam Post is here as well. What's up, man?
Thanks, Adam. You're
Wait,
the man.
backer 414.
It changed. The numbers change a little bit, Corey. It's not necessarily what it's going to show on the campaign.
Yeah, I think it's almost always different. I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah.
It has to do with, I don't know, people maybe changing their minds and refunding and getting a different tier, or
Yeah,
just
it's-
weird different things. I know I've backed a number of campaigns where it didn't actually back, but it gave me a backer number, so I had to back again. So that number was consumed. So
totally.
Yeah.
the numbers get weird, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
RT Bear, we're going to be there in a minute.
Cool, man. So tell you what, when I send you guys out and play the trailer, these guys are going to be over with RT Bear in just a few. But thanks for stopping by. If you want to stick around a little bit, we'll talk to Vinny a little bit about City of Venus and Through the Woods. And yeah, thanks for coming, guys. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, man. Have a great night, guys.
Hey, thanks, man. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for having us on, Red Gaze. It's always a pleasure catching up with you and Vinny, of course. And we'll definitely have you on our channel as well at some point. We still got to get you on there, man. We'll have to organize something.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's not a huge deal. There's going to be a Sunstorm comic coming, so maybe we can plan more for that.
Sweet. Hell yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We'll let you play the trailer and we'll jump out of here. But thanks again, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Always good to see you guys.
No worries. Catch you later. Thanks, chat. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
This features 43 full-color pages of intricately detailed art that tells a nightmare-fueled story of foul demons, abundant bloodshed, and the insidious corruption of a warrior's psyche. The story centers around a mighty warrior named Chief Baron and his clan of savage swordsmen who embark on a quest into the sacred swamplands of Nimla in search for the mysterious Faceless People, a race of submissive super soldiers who will balance out the odds in a ruthless war between man and demon. But when they're attacked by a flock of flying beasts, their journey proves more fatal than they could have ever imagined. In this campaign, backers get no less than the definitive edition of KOZOR Descent into Madness, which comes complete with refined edits, additional story pages, retouched interior artwork, and new wraparound covers. If you're a fan of dark fantasy and medieval horror, this book is for you. Back KOZOR Descent into Madness today, only on Indiegogo.
So what's up, Vinny? How you doing, man?
Hey, brother. Pretty good. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I didn't want to bring you on here without talking about City of Venus a little bit, especially because it's right there. It is right there. One backer away from 500.
Yep, one away, dude. I'm super thrilled about that. Yeah, thank you, everybody, everyone in chat, everyone who's been backing this. Yeah, it means a ton to me to see hitting a landmark like this is going to be fucking awesome, especially on this campaign. You know, this is the first one that I did all solo. But yeah, there are a bunch of other cool stuff to get on here as well. 2 art books, the kids book I put on here as well. We only have 3 of those left. The Halloween book. So yeah, it's really cool stuff. Anybody who, if you're into kind of like the sci-fi action, and this book it's going to go into kind of like more of a superhero kind of aspect at times as well. This is just something that I'm having a lot of fun with, working on that story, working on these projects and characters. And I can't wait to get back to issue 2, which is going to be right after I'm done with the pirate book. So it's coming soon, and it's going to be, almost double the size of the first one. We're looking closer to around 50 pages. Lots more story and artwork. You're going to see a ton more about the main character, about this world, what else is going on, some other extra cool surprises. This is definitely the jumping on point for sure. You don't want to miss this issue.
For sure. Yeah, there's only 3 more of these, Ghostly Manor on Howling Hill.
Yep. That's
ever, right?
Yeah, that's it. This is the family-friendly book. It's geared more towards kids. It's done in rhyme. Frankie wrote the whole thing. I did all the artwork, and I did it more in a Disney kind of Pixar style. So it is more pleasing for younger viewers. And it's really cool. There's a good message in there for kids. But if you're an adult and you're reading it, you're still going to have a great time just enjoying what's going on there. But
definitely, man.
And for those who just love beautiful artwork, great story, plenty of action, hot chicks, then City of Venus is definitely up your alley.
Hot chicks is always a plus.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. And Through the Woods is pretty damn close to a landmark too. You're 7 backers from 700.
Yeah,
amazing.
Dude. Yeah, I'm thrilled with this as well. This is we had the Barton boys on, and this was the Tartamella boys working on this one. Frankie did the story. I did all the artwork. If you like ghost stories, you like kind of suspense, this is definitely the story for you. It is completed. You get the whole story in this 100-page issue, hardcover book. This one is kind of in that European format. So, the hardcover is like about 8.5 by 11.5 inches, something along those lines, or 9 by 12-ish. But it's something you're really going to like. All these books are ready to go. So you put your order in, and I pretty much run to the post office and get them out to you.
So if you want to make Vinny run, back today. We just want great stuff back today, man. Yeah, both of these books are just excellent.
Thank you, brother.
That hardcover, it's undeniable. That's one of the best quality books I've got, if not the best quality book I've gotten out of comics.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot in chats as well that have been popping up in and stuff. Even last night, I was on a couple different streams, and a few people said it. This is by far their favorite hardcover book they've ever gotten. So man, I'm thrilled by that.
Definitely, and there's not many. There's not many at all.
Right. So, like I said, and that happened because of the fans. I did it for you guys. I could have done soft cover and kept most of the money, but I put almost everything into this. So I was really proud of being able to get a hardcover out like that, 100 pages without hitting 6 figures. That's very difficult to do. So I really crunched the numbers tight, and I managed to do it. So it's because everyone who's been backing and supporting all my campaigns. That was my big thank you, since this is the 5th campaign that I've done, in about a year and a half. Everything has been fulfilled. I feel like a prize fighter who went 12 rounds, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Brian, I see you in the chat, man. How's it going? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, Brian.
Oh,
yeah, man. Brian's awesome. 6 Gun Gorilla. Back at today as well.
For sure. Yeah, man. I love Through the Woods.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to City of Venus too, because you got us all hung up on that.
It was a cliffhanger for sure.
Also, everybody check out John and Carla have another campaign going here shortly. They have a mailing list launch for Witch Hunter, so be sure to check that out as well.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like good stuff, because this is going to be some more medieval horror stuff, which I think we need more of.
I think so too. I love that kind of stuff. And I will be doing a cover on this project. So.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to see that. Carla, I think, just revealed some of her cover today.
Ooh.
Yeah, this project's looking great. The art's done by Xavier from 656 Comics. Carla's going to be doing the coloring. She's got a cover on it as well. And of course, John is writing the story. Looks like good stuff, man. So yeah, definitely hop on that mailing list today. And don't forget Sunsworn. We're getting closer and closer, guys. Yeah, thank you all so much for what you've done for this campaign already. This is just flabbergasting, the support that comes from Comicsgate and the Fandom Menace and all kinds of different fandoms. We got a lot of different people from a lot of different places supporting these projects. So,
absolutely, man. Yeah, so many great people and all these great communities. And yeah, man, I am so looking forward to this as well. I know what you're doing, with this project, where you're going. It's going to be something we're all very, very happy to get. So yeah, man, I can't wait.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of awesome talent in the visual companion on the cover, on both covers, actually. Vinny and Carla are just excellent, as you know. But yeah, we got Narwhal in here. We got Lakeem Amir. We got, geez Louise, Sim has done a piece, as well as some people who just contributed, some fans, man, like Rust and Pale Rider's been doing a lot of fan art. There's just so many cool people helping me out here.
For sure.
Anybody, I apologize.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Hey, Pale Rider's awesome. He's always fun, man. He's always in the chats. His work has been getting better and better too. So that is just really cool to see.
Definitely, man. Yeah, he's improving quickly. Johnny Cage. How could I forget Johnny Cage?
Yes.
He's actually got a trading card on this too. So yeah, man, lots of great stuff going around. Definitely check out Sunsworn if you haven't already. Witch Hunter, get on that mailing list. Through the Woods, always looking great. It's one of the greatest looking books in Comicsgate. If only my browser would show you. And of course, City of Venus, man, like there's so much good stuff. And yeah, don't forget to check out KOZOR as well. This is a great looking book by Barton Brothers. Yeah, man. So just all kinds of good stuff, and there's even more good stuff coming. Brian, Six Gun Gorilla. I know he's got more coming from that. Captain Love just launched Rise of the Pirate King 2. Check that out. Man, there's just so much good stuff. And the Satisfied Converts in the chat. What's up, man? Says, yep, a lot of talent. Looking forward to it. Good, man. Yeah, it's coming your way very soon. So thank you very much. Vinny, I can never thank you enough for all the stuff that you do, just helping everybody out.
Dude, likewise, brother. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. So yeah, I think we're going to cut it there. But thanks everybody for coming and just making the chat awesome. I know I didn't get to the chat a lot this stream. Sorry about that, but we got a lot of artists talking a lot of art, so it's hard to interrupt that,
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No. Do not apologize. But yeah, thanks everybody. I'm going to try to stream a little bit more. So yeah, hopefully we'll have more good stuff coming your way. I try to come up with some different formats too, make things a little bit more entertaining. So yeah, guys. So appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one.